This episode is brought to you by Starry. When you drink Starry Lemon Lime Soda, every sip is a win. Perfect for game time or anytime. It's a crisp, refreshing lemon lime soda that's caffeine-free and bursting with flavor that makes you go, ah. Starry hits different. Find it in stores or online today.
And hello, welcome to Unequal Sequel
Extra.
We're back after a week away.
Yeah.
Rich, say something really sexy in that really sexy voice you got at the moment.
I don't have a sexy voice. I have a blocked up nose, sore throat voice. It isn't sexy.
Some people like the croakiness.
Some people find blocked noses sexy. Yeah. I still have COVID, all right? I just don't feel quite as bad as I did.
You look great.
Do I? I feel like crap.
No. Yeah, you look like crap. Yeah, you do. But you're back, and we're back, and we've seen a sequel. We're back on track. Sadly, we had to miss the Nun 2 film review. I seen it, Rich. You would have hated it. And
I will go and see it because we'll do it for Another Slice. So I will go and see it because Another Slices, I care about you. So I'm going to put myself through watching The Nun 2. I haven't watched The Nun 1 yet, but I'll probably watch that as well.
We'll go to that. I watched The Nun 2 and I couldn't remember a thing about The Nun 1. I was like, I've definitely seen this first film, but... And, it didn't matter. Anyway, we're not doing that film today. We are doing the third entry in the Poirot? How do you say his name?
Poirot.
Yeah.
Hercule Poirot.
Hercule Poirot. I can't do accents or names or anything like that, so this is going to be brilliant. But we're doing the third film in that trilogy.
Yeah, the Kenneth Branagh Poirot series.
I thought you were going to call him Blanner.
Blanner. I nearly did. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
So we've had... what we've had? We've had Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
And we've had Death of the Nile. Death on the Nile?
Death on the Nile.
Yeah. It's not Death of the Nile.
No, the Nile is still alive. It's Death on the Nile.
And then this is the Haunting of Venice. Okay.
Yeah. Not one that so I'd heard of Murder on the Orient Express and I'd heard of Death on the Nile. Haunting in Venice is not one that I knew of beforehand.
Do you know why, before we go into synopsis world?
No.
Because it's not really a complete story. It is a short story called The Halloween Party that Agatha Christie wrote. And they've adapted that and expanded it massily.
That makes sense.
Make pretty much a whole new story. So this isn't really an Agatha Christie story. This is the DNA's there and maybe the setup there. I'm not quite sure is there.
Do you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does, doesn't it? So before we delve into this ride which is a slightly different film from the other two, Rich, can you give us your brilliant synopsis? But everyone's been waiting for this for ages.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Okay, so the film takes place in Venice. Poirot is now retired, very much ignoring requests for people for him to do detective work, and he's kind of exiled himself in Venice. He is convinced to go to a séance by Tina Fey. I can't remember what her character's called. Ariadne Oliver. That's her name. His friend Ariadne Oliver turns up. She is the person who wrote books about him, made him famous. She is Agatha Christie, essentially. And she's turned up to convince him to go to this séance at a Halloween party where one of the guests is murdered. No, well, two of the guests are murdered. And obviously he's trying to figure out who the murderer is. But he's also trying to solve the case of a dead girl who is they're trying to contact in the seance. Yeah, and things happen.
Brilliant. I thought you were going to leave out the murder, that why he went to the house.
Yeah, I nearly did.
Which drives the whole story, to be honest.
Yeah, so the whole real story is a girl died a year. Is it a year ago?
It is a year ago.
Yeah, a girl died a year ago, and that's what the seance is about. Is to try and find out the circumstances in which she died, because they are suspect.
It's a mystery.
Was it suicide? Was it murder? Was it a horrible accident? Nobody knows.
Was it ghosts?
Was it ghosts? Because apparently this house is also haunted by dead children.
Because doctors and nurses have locked them in there.
Yeah,
in the plague bit.
Basically,
yeah.
So it was an orphanage originally, and it all was fine until the plague hit. And the doctors and nurses, fearing for themselves, locked the children in the basement and left them to die whilst escaping from the plague. Cheery.
Pretty dark stuff, isn't it?
Really dark, yeah.
Like the other two films in this series, there is a bit of a star-studded cast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say not quite as glittered and not quite as problematic.
No, definitely not, no.
As the last two. In the first one,
not
you
yet.
Yes, not yet. I wonder which one of these are going to be problematic.
And my money's on the little boy.
He's very annoying. So the first one was Johnny Depp, and the second one was Arnie Hammer, Gal Gadot, and now Russell Brand. So we're not going to go into that. But Richard,
yes,
I can imagine you're big fans of these films.
Do you know what? I quite like the first one. I thought it was all right. Thought the second one was okay. The cast were mostly annoying in places. I am not sure about this one. I think it's a downward slope into this one.
That is interesting. Did you see the previous two on cinema, or were they on home watching?
I saw the last one. I saw the second one. Did we watch it at the cinema? Did we do a review for this? We didn't.
I watched it at the cinema.
You watched it at the cinema. I watched it at home. The first one I definitely watched at home. Yeah. Yeah. So, no, this is the first one I've seen at the cinema. And
are you a fan of the Agatha Christie, Poirot?
I don't mind Agatha Christie.
Previous films, the Peter, I forgot his name, Osman.
I don't.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Him.
Yeah.
And David
Suchet. I know the David Suchet ones, the TV movies. Never been massively into Poirot. I kind of like seen a few, like everyone I guess has. If you've grown up in Britain, essentially you can avoid a Poirot every now and then. Quite like an Agatha Christie
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, quite like an Agatha Christie kind of murder mystery. When it's a good one, when it's a bad one, it tends to be very bad, I find.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I liked the first one. I thought the second one was okay. I think this one is a little less than okay.
Okay. I'm going to disagree. So I like the second one more than the first one for some reason. Yeah. I just had more fun with it watching the second.
I just think I dislike the cast more in the second one.
That is 100% right. But what that cast does to have is French and Saunders.
True.
So, it's got that going for it. But the first one's got Olivia Colman and Judi Dench. And that's how they kind of marketed those first couple of films. And I can't remember them ever doing brilliantly. Like everyone, they're one of these trilogies that keep having another film in the series and thinking, oh, it must have made enough money to them to push on for another one. Because I didn't think they were hugely successful or hugely well received. But Kenneth Branagh just keeps going.
Yeah.
God bless him at this time. Yeah. With the most fabulous tash. I don't think his tash is quite as good in this one as it in the last one. The last one, it took up most of his face, and it was a really. I
guess these must not cost that much money to make, and probably make a decent return, which is why they keep making them. Because it's quite a singular location. All of them are quite singular locations, aren't they? So,
the first one's the train.
Yeah.
The second one's a boat.
And this one,
the third one's
a house. So, yeah, they don't really stray from that very much. So, no, they don't. I imagine they're relatively cheap movies to make.
Yes.
And so they probably make a profit, which is probably why we keep getting them.
I shouldn't mind, because these are the kind of budgeted films that I want more of.
Yeah. And also, if your lead actor is also your director, you're saving a chunk of change there, aren't you? By only having one person doing 2 jobs.
And how do you feel he does in this role? Do you feel his French Belgium accent is a little bit?
Oh no, his accent's ridiculous. His accent's like from Hello Hello, isn't it? It's awful. Like it's a terrible accent.
But isn't that what slightly makes it like entertaining?
I find him quite entertaining as Poirot.
Yes, me too. It's
yeah,
weird, isn't it?
It is weird. I think he's really hammy, but I think that kind of suits it. I think that's all right. I don't mind that at all.
Do you feel like some of the other characters don't lean into that as much as maybe as that character does?
Yeah. I think everyone else is in this. Apart from maybe Tina Fey, I think everyone else is in a different movie. Like
yes, very much. But that's the tone of they're trying to make a different feel of this movie, aren't they? Because they're turning to more of the horror, ghosty Halloween.
Do you know what?
It's set on Halloween night.
It doesn't feel like an Agatha Christie story, so that's why it doesn't surprise me that this isn't a proper. It's based on a short, because it feels like a departure from that kind of Agatha Christie kind of narrative structure that you would normally get. It doesn't feel. It feels more about like trying to scare you and trying to make you jump than it does about the mystery. Which, by the way, I figured out in about 20 minutes.
We're going to try and not spoil it because I don't think.
Oh, you don't want us to spoil it? Okay.
No, because I don't think many people have gone to the cinema to see it.
Okay.
I don't know how your screening was.
Mine was quite full.
Okay, that's good.
Mostly old women all talking most way through it, yeah.
Lots of old people in mine as well. And at the end they came out and they said, do you know what? I really like that. I'm glad I saw that. I like Kenneth Branagh. He's really good. Someone
behind me went, well, that was really obvious. And I was like, yeah.
I worked out the big bit, I believe, of why certain things were happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's obvious. But I don't know if I really wanted to try and guess the murderer kind of thing. I was kind of letting that wait until the end and see.
Literally 5 minutes after being introduced to the characters, I was like, that's the murderer.
2 hours to go. Let's just see how he wraps this up and his, flamboyant.
Relatively zippy movie though. It didn't drag.
No.
An hour and 45-ish, I think.
I think you're right, an hour and 43 minutes. So that's quite nice. That's right into my sweet spot. No, yeah. I hate to keep. When I came out, I said to my wife, and I hate to sound it, but I'm going to sound like Rich here. It's fine.
It is fine.
It's fine. It's not offensive in any way. It's not going to annoy you in any way. It's not going to think that's the best film ever. But at home, for an hour and 45 minutes on a Saturday or Sunday night, I think this might work really well.
Yeah.
I think, Venice looks nice, but then for most of the movie you are strapped into that building.
Yeah, most of the movie it's dark and raining. So
and they're trying to scare you in different ways than the previous 2 films. Were you scared at all, Rich, in your very ill forms?
No. No.
Any of those jumps get you?
No, sadly not. I was quite up for a jump scare. I thought it might help clear my sinuses out a bit, but no, didn't get any, I'm afraid.
Oh man!
Unfortunately, the one that would have got me, I'd already seen in the trailer. So
yeah, the trailer. I think the trailer for this film is quite good because it
makes it look like a horror movie.
A different film, because I think they know the problems they've had with the previous 2 films and they've relied too much on the cast. And every time they release one of their films, one of those casts are doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, true.
And it's always hampered the PR for these films. Always is. So I think on this film, let's try and get the story and the trailer do the talking. And then they released it in a period where the cast can't promote the film. So really, there is another problem.
Yeah, true. Although, at least touch wood, none of them have done anything bad yet.
I can look at this cast and I think these are all good people, and I couldn't have said the same about the other casts.
Yeah, that's true. That is
because
true.
the cast here is interesting. It's not quite starry. I mean, Michelle Yeoh's in there, Jamie Dornan.
Yeah,
I believe
Tina
sometimes
Fey.
he's in a different film.
Jamie Dornan's definitely in a different film.
Bless that.
And what I think most of them, like I say, I think Michelle Yeoh, like Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh, definitely in a completely different film to everyone else. Yeah,
you've got the bad guy from John Wick 2, Ricardo Shamaco.
Oh yeah, that guy. I knew I recognised him from somewhere.
He's got the most terrifying eyes and face for me. There's Kelly Riley playing the mum from, well, famous now I would say for Yellowstone, but she has been in many other things.
I've not seen Yellowstone, but I do know her. I do recognise her from somewhere.
People love Yellowstone.
Like Sherlock Holmes or something. Is she Sherlock Holmes?
Maybe
the Jude Law and
Robert Downey
Jr. one. Is she in that?
She's in Pride and Prejudice. Yes, she is.
Okay.
Well done.
That's
Eden Lake.
I've not seen that either. No.
It's terrifying.
Okay.
Absolutely terrifying. So the cast is, I think they're all.
They're not. It's not full of superstars. You've got a couple. You've got a few stars, and then some probably lesser known actors. I would say. Yeah. So it's not like the others where they're fully star studded.
Yeah, which I think works better.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
In this story, which is different to the other stories,
yeah.
And it's nice paced. Why are we both like, I mean, did you stay awake for all of it through your illness?
No,
were you in the wrong place?
I very nearly nodded off in the middle. I've got to be honest. I was feeling quite poorly, and there was a point where I was like, "What have I done this for?" I was feeling pretty ill, and I was like, "Oh, I could be at home with a Lemsip."
I do think that's not just you. I think that is a little bit of the film, because there's a lot happening in the beginning, and the end kind of ramps up with the whole reveal.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it all a bit unsatisfying, really. Like, I don't know if it's because I found it so easy to, like, I guessed who the killer was and what had happened, like, really early on. Like, and so then it was just a case of spotting stuff. Like, there are a few things that happen, and you're like, yeah, like, they were really obvious. Like, it wasn't like, oh, look, this thing. And you're like, well, that's got something to do with it then, hasn't it?
That's the half the fun, though, isn't it? These are meant to be the half fun of these kind of pictures that you're trying to get those
in the
clues.
other ones, there are more like red herrings and stuff. This seemed to not have any red herrings. This was like full on, like, just, here's a thing.
I do agree with that, to be honest. It is it does lack it lacks the campness of the second one.
Yeah, definitely. It does, definitely.
And it lacks
a lot of the
scope.
Fun. Yeah, and it lacks the fun, I think.
Yeah,
like the first two are quite fun. Like, you feel like Poirot's having fun figuring these things out. And this one, he feels like he's quite laboured and bored and doesn't really want to be there. And obviously he's, not doing spoilers, but yeah, we don't want to do spoilers, but obviously, like, he's not himself through most of the movie.
Yes.
So,
and at the beginning he's retired, and I couldn't, is he retired because he just doesn't want to be that man anymore?
I guess so.
It's something, because you find about his war background in the second one, and obviously death always follows you, and there's that theme that runs through this film as well.
Yeah.
But is there a certain point that I missed somewhere that he's haunted by his own?
I don't know. I didn't get any sense of it, to be honest. Like, it's strange, isn't it?
It's a tough film to review and talk about when we're trying not. I really do think if we don't do spoilers, it'll really help people, because this is the kind of film. There's lots of films you can talk about before you've watched it and reviewed. Like, you can't really spoil this film because it plays A, B, and C. But with a murder whodunit film, it's best not to reveal it and be those dickheads.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for you. I mean, we are dickheads, but we try not to be.
Well, yeah, it's not, and it's not quite the Scooby-Doo endings. Well,
no. No, I don't think it is a Scooby-Doo ending because it's kind of... It is a little bit.
It's darker than a Scooby-Doo ending.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's definitely darker. It's definitely dark. And and the movie is not about... It's not a simple murder mystery, essentially. It's about possession, and it's about trying to own someone and have them be yours and not let them go, and that kind of... I'm trying to describe it without giving too much away.
If anything, Rich, that makes it sound so much better than it actually is. Again.
Well, I think that's what the story's about. I'm not sure that's the way this movie necessarily goes, but I think if I was directing it, that's what I would kind of be concentrating on, is that kind of...
They're trying to have that fine line of, is it ghost, is it not ghost kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really, they're really trying to give you two sides of the coin.
But you go into this knowing
it's
a Poirot movie, so you know it's not
problem,
ghosts. You know it's not a ghost story. You know it's not a horror movie. You know it's not ghosts because it's a murder mystery movie. So and ghosts don't kill people, rappers do. So
showing your age there now, Rich. That one?
Yeah, that's true.
Shall we play the little game quickly of the Rotten Tomato game, high or low? Now we've got 3 of these.
And okay. Let's give that a
Why
shot.
not? And we can start with Murder on the Orient Express, and then we can work on. So thank you, sequelizers, for this. And let's start with Murder on the Orient Express, and then you can get a feeling of the whole trilogy.
I think... We're talking critic scores for that, yeah?
Critic scores first, Murder on the Orient Express.
Okay. I think it probably was reasonably... well thought of without being mind-blowing. I would probably put it in around the 68 kind of mark.
Okay, so Murder on the Express, released in 2017. Feels older than that for some reason in my head. 60%.
Okay, yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Audience score? Do you want to have a crack at that?
I imagine pretty similar, to be honest. So, like 65?
54%.
54, okay, fair enough. That's interesting.
We move on to Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, I imagine, is probably quite similar. I'd probably aim for like the 60. So let's go with like 60 again.
Oh, 61%. That was released in 2002. So these are... I think that had a big gap.
It had a big gap, yeah.
This one was held back a lot because obviously pandemic and coronavirus. I was like, wow, they really banged these out too quickly, but they didn't. The other one was really late.
Held back. Okay.
Audience score.
Probably lower. If the first one was lower, I think the second one's probably lower, so probably about 50.
82%.
82? Wow.
I know, right?
Wow. Okay. That's better than I thought. It's interesting. I wonder why that happened.
I don't know. It's really weird. Haunted in Venice, released in 2023.
Okay. I mean, this hasn't been out that long.
No, but there are just as many reviews for it as there are nearly for the other two.
I don't think critics are going to feel this is a massively impressive movie, but then I could be wrong. I normally am. I'm going to go with like 45.
78%.
What?
Certified fresh at the moment.
What? Why?
I love it when they...
What are they watching?
I think they just like... It on camera, it does look massively different. It's very dark. It has a different tone, and I think people have really liked that.
I think I would look for different things in movies.
The music's quite good as well. I think
the music is
builds
good.
atmosphere. Without that music, this film would not work.
Yeah, that's very true. I think I'd look for different things in movies than critics do. I think so too. It's all about story to me, and I don't think that's always the best way to judge a movie. Maybe. Anyway,
we're not critics. Luckily, we are audience score.
Audience score. Oh well, I mean, it's really thrown me that was higher. Well, maybe about 60 odd then for the audience score.
It's currently at 77%.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Turns out that I'm neither a critic nor a man of the people.
I'm surprised there as well. I thought the second one and the first one would be very similar on audience score, definitely. But for some reason, people really, really loved that second film. I'm not quite sure. But as a trilogy, how do you feel about it?
I think it's all right. Are they going to stop at a trilogy?
Well, that's my next question. Would you watch another one?
Oh, I think I probably would watch another one because I'm an idiot and I like this sort of stuff. I quite like detective-y things. So, yeah, and but the problem for me is that the reason I didn't watch the first two straight away is because I already know the stories. And I thought, oh, well, there's no point because I already know who the killer is. I already know what the stories are. Like, is there much point me watching it? But yeah, actually, they were reasonably good. So, yeah, I probably would watch another one. And it's not to say that I didn't come out of this one being like, oh, that's rubbish, and I'm going to watch that again. I came out of it going, it was all right, it was fine.
It's fine. Classic Rich line now. It's fine. Would you watch, if they did a fourth one, would you want them to go back to an Agatha Christie original story? Yeah. Or would you, but then you just said, the
yeah,
endings.
But they're better. Like...
That's fair enough.
They've deviated a little from this one. I didn't like it so much, so go back to the old ones, please.
And there are others.
I haven't read every Agatha Christie book, so I don't know every story. There's loads. She wrote loads, didn't she?
How many? What? Yeah, I only know the ones I watched on ITV. To be fair, I don't know. So if there's other stories out there, yeah, I would carry on watching these because they're fine, they're pleasant, they're well, I'm about to say they're harmless, but the cast.
Whoa. She wrote 42?
Oh, so they got plenty. And I bet it's short stories as well. Yeah. I bet they're all over the place.
There are oh, no, more than that. There are 47 Poirot stories.
Oh, so yes, they can carry on. And I think Kenneth Branagh likes making them, to be honest, at this point. And if not, there's a Doctor Who. She turns up in one of the episodes of Doctor Who with a giant bee alien or something at some point. Okay. The David Tennant film, episodes. Right. So we both agree we quite like these films.
Yeah.
We quite like them to do a new one if it happened. I mean, if they stopped, I wouldn't be annoyed. Let's rate these things. So out of 7, and if it's an unequal sequel, and this is a tough one.
I think it's an unequal sequel. I don't think it's as good as the first one. But that's just me. Clearly, I'm alone in that because most people think it's better from the sound.
So you think it's out of the 3, it's the worst one?
Yeah, okay. For me it is. But it's still all right. It's still fine.
We've seen worse.
We've definitely seen worse. I'd rather watch Death on the Nile than I would watch this again.
Okay.
I think maybe because it's not bad. I would probably give it a 4, maybe. Like
whatever is middle.
Yeah, well, 3.5 is middle out of 7. I probably think it's just a little bit better than middle.
Would you recommend it, or would you say wait until it's on
I'll wait
streaming?
Until it's on streaming, to be honest.
Yes,
it's a movie you can happily watch on the telly. You don't need to watch it in the cinema.
I think, I think a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. It's quite a nice Sunday afternoon kind of movie. You know, it's like, had a feeling of kind of like an ITV special rather than a Hollywood movie. But
is it one you can watch with your family, or is it too scary, Rich?
I wouldn't be watching it with George because not necessarily it'd be too scary, but he'd be bored. So, yeah. I
would put it as probably 3.5, 4, bang in the middle. It's bang average.
Yeah.
I think it's unequal sequel because I like the second one better.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. It is an unequal sequel. Did it make any money? Has it made any money yet?
Is it anything making money this year apart from Barbie and Oppenheimer and Super Mario Brothers? I don't think anyone's really smashed it out of the park.
Well, I'd be interested to see what the budget is of these Poirot movies, though. Let's have a look. Right, so do you want to hear right? Shall I do the budgets with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Murder on the Orient Express made for $55 million. Fair.
That's a sensible range.
About right. Made 352 worldwide.
Okay, there we go.
So there we
are.
That's why we got a sequel. And then Death on the Nile, which appears to be everybody's favourite. Actually, no, it's the third one's everyone's favourite. It's a 90 million budget, but only made 137 million worldwide.
But that was also pandemic.
True. So that's probably why that didn't make so much money. But 90 million budget, that's big budget, that one.
That's a really big increase, and I would cast.
Yeah, I guess so.
Both visual effects. I have a lot of visual effects in those films.
This is interesting.
Come.
So,
Life report.
Haunting in Venice, budget 15 million, as in 15.
That can't be right.
Oh, hang on. No, there isn't a budget on. Okay. IMDb haven't put a budget on.
Okay.
15 million is what it's made in its opening weekend. And so far worldwide, it's made about 40 million, but it's only been out for a few days. So at this point of recording, 60 million's the budget.
Okay, that's more sensible.
That's more sensible. It's better than that 90 million. It's coming back down again.
So it will.
So
make
it's
more
made
money
40 million in its opening weekend worldwide. So it's made half its money back already. So
those kind of budgets are so sensible at the moment.
I think so.
So sensible. Between 40 and 60 million. And then if you can get to 200 million on that, I think that's a good,
Yeah.
Depends how much you pay for marketing. But I think both me and Rich agree, wait until it's at home.
Yeah.
Rent it.
I mean, by all means, if you want to go to the cinema, go to the cinema. Never put anyone off going to the cinema. You should be going to watch movies on the big screen. That's what they're for. I would just choose another one over this. Like,
go see Barbie again.
Go see Barbie again. I mean, what's out at the cinema? The Nun 2? Maybe not.
The Nun 2. In the next couple of weeks, I think we've got the Expendables 4s coming. Things like that.
Yeah.
Rich, see us out.
I have to do the outro now. So if my voice gives up, I'm very sorry. This is probably more talking than I've done in the last 2 weeks. Anyway, if you want more talking where I'm not full of snotty death, then go back and listen to our other episodes. We have got hundreds of them now. We've finished season 5. It's done. It's dusted. Season 6 is in progress. We are getting ready for series 6 recordings. So keep an eye out for those. They'll be coming relatively soon. But yeah, we've got 5 series of interview episodes for you to go back and listen to. Make sure you do that. Go back and give them a little listen. While you're there, if you wouldn't mind hitting the little subscribe button, hitting the like button, we'll drop into your pod player of choice every single week. If you really, really like us and you haven't joined us on Another Slice yet, we will be putting our Nun 2 review on there. So go to anotherslice.com/unequal sequel. It costs $2.99 a month, which is an absolute bargain. We do basically 3 other podcasts. We've got Disenfranchised, we've got Box Set Mentality, and we do extra bits to all our interview episodes. So there's loads of stuff on there for you to go and listen to. If you want to hear me and Dave having to review the Twilight movies, that's the place to do it. Get over there and give it a listen. $2.99 a month on Another Slice. It's a bargain. Give it a try. If you can't afford that, if you're not looking to spend money at the moment, just get yourself on social media. Share the love for the podcast on social media. It really helps people find us. Tap us out a little review on your pod player of choice. 5 stars would be nice. Lets people know where we are. We're on all the social medias for now. Probably not on Twitter for much longer because, it's going down the toilet, isn't it? And it's not even called Twitter anymore. But we're on there for now. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We're on TikTok, we're on Blue Sky, and you can find us on Letterboxd as well if you want to look at the reviews of things we've watched. And we are at Unequal Sequel on all of those. If you don't do social media at all, then by all means, drop us an email. We are unequalsequel@hotmail.com. Get in touch. We will read out all your comments in the end of month roundup. So tell us what you thought of Haunting in Venice. I know you said Death in Venice then, but it's not. It's a Haunting in Venice.
I keep saying Merchant in Venice, so we're doing well.
That's a very different book.
Yeah. Well done. I thought halfway through that, I really should have done this week to save his voice. But no, for Another Slice listeners, the next episode of Disenfranchised has been pushed back a week. Well, it will be coming out in the next few days.
Yes.
Because Rich literally had no voice.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
We can't push him so much. So that is coming very soon. Also, we're very happy to announce we've been nominated at the UK Independent Podcast Awards 2023 in the film and TV category.
We have been.
Which is very nice.
Do you know what? I am really looking forward to going to those awards, sitting at the back and losing to the Cine Mile.
Have you practiced your loser's face?
Yeah. It'd be like this.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it, but it's fair.
We're going to be there on the event, so if you're there, make sure you can come say hi. You cannot miss us. No. One of us is short and ginger, and the other one looks like he's protection for the short and ginger guy.
We are called Unequal Sequel for a reason.
Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week for the roundup, which we're recording in a couple of days because we're having a few. We're both going away this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to France if they'll let me in.
And I'm going to Budapest if
Woo-hoo.
they let me in. They will let me in. So it's going to be fun. So we'll be back next week and then we can carry on with everything. Thanks very much. It's a bye-bye from me and it's a bye-bye from him.
Bye!
See you next week. Sequel to this week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Oh, that bye nearly killed me this time.
I could tell.
I went for it.
And now you can go and have a lay down.
Yeah.
Okay. You've done really well. Well done, bud.